my short legs.
Don't like being here, constantly live in fear. Could be gone at any time. When you live a life of crime, you have to face the music and do the time.
Hello,
Good
everyone.
evening, Cumberland County, and welcome to the Watchdog Report. Okay, Jonathan, it's my show.
Absolutely.
And I'm here with Jonathan and Casey. And tonight we're going to discuss some issues that have been happening at the West Shore. Jonathan?
Yes, I will do the rest of the intro and then throw it back to Mariana. Make sure you check out the music by Marcus Fredrickson, the song A Friend. Make sure you share that out or share out whatever your favorite song is. Check out our storefront, bonfire.com/store/the Boiling Point Podcast. Pick yourself up some apparel. I'm on this episode of the Watchdog Report, also being brought to you by J.D. Designs. And there Mariana does have some apparel on, so at least one of the three of us is repping the official brand tonight. The new sweatshirt too. I just realized that. I just figured that out, Mariana. That's the new sweatshirt,
nice,
right?
Comfortable and warm, and it's pink. No man's blue, it's pink.
On the camera, it's not coming through as pink, but she does have the pink one, and it does look nice. It came out really nice, the pink version. So I'm very happy with that. And now I'll throw it back to Mariana. She's going to bring out the issues and stuff. And I think Casey and I are just going to be doing some color commentating on it. Mm-hmm. Mariana, back to you.
Okay, well, welcome. So this has been quite some week here in the West Shore. It really, really has. Now, you know, as the election is coming close to the day of election, and the left is getting desperate. They have been spinning some lies and some controversies, okay? And they've been gaslighting the community. Now, one of the biggest elephant in the room at the moment is the Red Line Project, okay? So there's a big movement, a big push, and people, you know, who have heard from Team Mickle have said that when they knock on their door, they're trying to state that Kelly is misappropriating monies, okay, or using them incorrectly into a stadium versus all-day kindergarten. So let's talk about this stadium. First and foremost, she was very clear from the very beginning that it is not a stadium that Redland is getting, okay? They received some grants, and the grant, okay, is to be used for a sports field. Can a stadium be included in the grant? It can, but that's not what we're doing, okay? That particular grant is for a sports field. So what is Redland getting? Basically, because there's a lot of stories out there, a lot of fairy tales. I mean, they got more stories than Mother Goose. So what they're basically getting is a dirt field, a football dirt field, a couple of bleachers. Okay, yes, the fencing around it, definitely, because they always have the fencing. And maybe, hopefully somebody would donate a scoreboard. That's it. I'm hearing that they're getting stadium lights and they're getting concessions and they're getting this and they're getting that. You know, no, that's not what they're getting. It's very simple. And most of the monies for this stadium, okay, it's being used through a grant, saving the taxpayers money. Okay, now granted that this grant, you know, if you came up with $1 million, they will match you $1 million. But let me ask you something, Jonathan. If I would tell you, Jonathan, I know you need a building for the boiling point. So if you come up with 250,000, I'm going to give you 250,000. Will you take it?
Yeah, of course. Marianne, I'm glad you asked me that question. Because when I was younger, especially in high school and coming out of high school, I actually had like a trust fund that I couldn't do anything with. I had no access to the money. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't go withdraw anything. It was an actual trust fund headed by a council of 3 other people. And then they had to decide when to use those funds. And we would often do matching funds for donations. Like we would find that a lot actually, where if during our fundraiser we would come up with this much, these other people would match that money as well. So that's how it's done. That's how a lot of grants are done, is matching funds.
Correct, correct. And the way you need to look at it is a million more than what we had. Okay, so it's a blessing in disguise. So this gaslighting of the community needs to stop, and the community needs to start thinking critically and asking the right questions. Because while she's knocking on doors, presenting herself to be a Republican, because I think we've all seen the billboards that says Republican Teri Mickle. Well, we were able to get a copy of her voter card, her voter registration, actually not the card, but the registration, that it shows that she is indeed a Democrat. She's a Democrat. Now she cross-filed because we have this bipartisan, nonsense going on right now that everybody can cross-file and not really show you who they really are. But the reality is that she is a far left liberal Democrat. Be not deceived by the smile. She is also, and I stated this before, she has been endorsed by Education Voter PA. And if you go into our Facebook page, West Shore Parents United, you will see part of the indoctrination that she goes through. Okay. And part of it, they teach her how to write letters to the editors. And we see her writing a lot of letters to the editors, what to say, how to say it, how to label parents and conservatives as extremists. Okay. This is all part of the indoctrination that she has gone through. Okay.
It's also going through other groups on Facebook as well. That post from who was it? The what was the name of that group? You just said it. I'm sorry.
That would be Education Voters PA.
Yeah, that's that's the one that's going around the groups right now, claiming that there are no pornographic books in the West Shore School District.
Well, no, that I believe is from West Shore Student First. That's the other group.
Oh, you're right. It's right. West Shore Students First. You're right.
Right. That's the other group that has endorsed her. Okay. Now they are stating, okay, this is what they're saying. This is a fact checker. Well, I'm going to give you a fact checker right now. Okay. Yeah. They're saying this is a fact checker. Any books that are not in the online catalog, the library catalog, does not exist. So they're trying to say that the parents aligned. However, Mrs. Brent conducted an interview with some of the administrative staff, and Matthew Gay, the assistant superintendent of the West Shore School District, admitted to her that these books that we are speaking about are in the West Shore School District library. Furthermore, I myself put in a challenge for those books. Unfortunately, the whole process takes like 6 months. Okay. But he said that all the books were there but one, because they're still refusing to admit that the book that Casey and I saw in the Cedar Cliff Library, and we held it on a parent, one of those parent nights, open nights, which is gender queer. They're still refusing to admit that book is in the West Shore School District. So their way of gaslighting the community, their claim is that if it's not in the online catalog, then it's not in the schools. Baloney. Because the part they're not telling you, and I said countless times, okay, and I'm thanking God that this new policy is gonna, if it goes through, is going to change this, is that books that are donated, okay, books that are donated by any foundation, any organization, any person, okay, those books are not cataloged, okay. And talking about the catalog, last year they had something called Mac and View, that they had a whole bunch of other titles, among it pornographic titles, that you needed a password, okay. You would actually need a password, the parents, to be able to access that part of the online catalog. They changed the system this year, okay, and then you still need a password for one of them to be able to, see some books. And now it's also connected statewide with the public library. So if it's in the book, they can actually request it. But last year, and I have posted it many a time in different parent pages, they had that service called Mac and View, and you needed a password to get in it. Now, the second thing is this. These books are in the West Shore School District as admitted by Matthew Gay, the assistant superintendent himself. Okay. The other part that parents forget is that these books that are on the catalog, like this one, The Girl from the Sea that you just showed, and Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl that you're showing right now. Okay. And if you can see in the middle, that's the online catalog, okay, of the West Shore School District. That's what it looks like. Okay. These books that are on the catalog are being funded by our tax dollars. Our tax dollars. So they're using our tax dollars to fund the smut in the school. So yes, we do have a say. Now we have parents coming to the board meetings, okay, saying, well, if you don't want those books, then you don't read them to your kids. You keep them out of your house, but you make it accessible to the other kids. Absolutely not. How about you read the smut in your home? Because nobody's book banning. You can still get them on Amazon. You can go to the public library, read all the smut you want to your kids, and let the other kids enjoy a traditional education.
And that's the whole point here too. I mean, first of all, they do the gaslighting by minimizing the issue itself and pretending that this is only a select few books when it's actually dozens, if not hundreds. There are entire shelves on libraries in every single school with this type of material in it. Christy had read, as you know, a few months back, several excerpts, from numerous books at the school board meeting, and that was not even the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we wouldn't want to engage in that for any lengthy period of time because it is so egregious. It's not the kind of thing you want to be just saying out of your mouth. Even the few times I've had to quote some of the things in these books myself, I wanted to wash my own mouth out with soap afterwards. But yeah, it is definitely a systemic problem, and the fact that it might only be, say, 1 or 2% of the books is 1 or 2% too many. It's the old analogy. How much cyanide do you need in a full glass of water to kill you? A little poison is too much. Yeah. And again, the issue that they're avoiding, it's not about freedom of choice, because we're not talking about what you do in your own house. We're talking about what you're doing with public money, what you're doing with taxpayer dollars. And it's a matter of responsibility, especially if you are someone in a position of influence or authority, such as a school board or administrator. You have an obligation to put in the libraries, as well as the curriculum, the most effective material, not only for education, but for enlightenment and for productive entertainment that would actually inspire and edify kids. Nobody could possibly make the case, which is why they don't even try to. They even avoid the issue of why pornography, especially pedophilic pornography, is the best use of taxpayer money for what we want to give as reading material to the kids. That's the issue. That it has nothing to do with, quote, book banning. Now, quite frankly, these books should be banned because, in all honesty, child pornography is already illegal. There are thousands of people doing time right now in the Pennsylvania state prison system for downloading crap like that in their computers. So technically it's already illegal and should be prosecuted. Why it's not in this case is anybody's guess. But that's neither here nor there. No school board or administrator has the authority to ban books. That's a smokescreen. If not having something in a public school library is book banning, then almost every book in the world is banned. Because you can only fit a few tens of thousands of books in even the largest public school libraries, and there's billions, if not trillions, of books on the planet. Yeah. So almost every book on the planet is banned by that definition. So it's not about book banning; it's about what is the responsible use of taxpayer money for enlightening young minds. And again, nobody with even half a frozen pea for cents could possibly try to argue that kind of material is the best choice for young minds to develop them.
Now, that being stated, somebody asked me, right, what do you have against Teri Mickle? It's not that I have anything against Teri Mickle personally, because I do not. Okay, I don't care for her. She probably don't care for me, and that's great. I can live with that. However, my issue is that when you speak in a school board meeting, okay, and you try to minimize this, and you try to say that policy should be student-centered and not driven by the What exactly what I was trying
The
to get?
discomfort of
By
the
the
parents.
discomfort of the parents. She's absolutely wrong. Number one, it's our taxpayers' money, our taxpayer dollars. Number two, it's our children. Okay. And if it makes me feel uncomfortable, okay. I mean, you all heard, and we can show the video again, and we probably will. When Christy Harmon read those books in June, the room went silent. Okay, everybody felt uncomfortable when she was reading Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. Every adult felt uncomfortable. Why? Because they know that it is not right. They know that it is pornographic. That particular book was geared towards 10 years and above. Okay. So that's about like middle school. Okay. So everybody knew that it was disgusting. It was foul. Okay. It shouldn't be read by a child. But yet, immediately after Christy reads all this, she comes and says that it should be student centered and not based on, parents' discomfort. No, you are wrong. Madam, you are wrong. You are on the wrong side of things. You have been brainwashed. You have been indoctrinated. And I am praying that if there's a shred of decency and a shred of the conscience that there is a God in you, that God will convict you, that you will open your eyes, and that you will repent. Because otherwise, you are a detriment to our children with your stance. But out of your own mouth, you're showing me that you're a detriment to your students. Do I have anything personally against her? I do not. Okay, but you're not going to come into the West Shore School District, okay, with your mess, with your indoctrinated mentality. Okay, and yes, the discomfort of any adult, of any parent, okay, cannot be overlooked because they're our children and it's our constitutional right. They belong to us. We are to educate them. We are to make them, good citizens, not you. That is our job. And enough is enough with the smut. You want to read the smut? Go have a smut fest, but keep our children out of it.
And I think it's important to note, too, the danger of her being on that school board potentially, because she's cut from the exact same cloth ideologically as Abigail Turney is. And this last meeting, the mask came completely off. Not that she ever wore it very well to start with, but Abigail Tierney said some of the most ignoramus, not to mention depraved things imaginable. She actually said with a straight face, and I don't even know how she does it without, laughing, that we follow, quote, science, not the Bible. And we know that there's no such thing as gender.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know that, chromosomes and DNA and verifiable physical genitalia and reproductive organs were not science, but somebody's personal fetishes, fantasies, and imaginations were. That's quite telling right there.
Yeah. And
I mean, you believe in science, and then she's citing, I forget what it was. It was one of the federal bureaucracies and their definitions of gender. Okay, so since when did federal bureaucrats become experts in biology?
Yeah.
This is the same entity, the federal government, that was telling us 5 years ago that a cloth mask would keep you from breathing in an airborne pathogen. Okay, give me a break. The same people have said that an experimental gene therapy mRNA injection would be a magic cure to make sure you didn't get a disease. That even after you had this fully safe and effective vaccination, which of course proved to be a farce, that everyone else around you also had to have it in order for it to work. So, yeah, of course, following that line of reason, that would mean that, or if it's completely safe and effective and would keep you from getting it, but you need everybody else to take it too, that's the logical equivalent of saying, yeah, I'm going to go out in the rainstorm with my raincoat on, but I need you to wear your raincoat so I don't get wet. But that's the kind of level of rationality we're talking about here. And she's going to trust those kind of bureaucracies to tell us what a gender is, or that there's no such thing as, against all irrefutable, provable biological science. I mean, come on. I'm sorry, yeah, Abigail, but yeah, the Bible is correct that there's only male and female, and it is a fact scientifically as well. And somebody who's that much of an ignoramus, if she truly believes what's coming out of her mouth, is completely unqualified to be deciding how children should be educated. If you're that clueless yourself. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's
You were
fine.
going
I,
to say
I
something?
completely agree with everything you're saying there. Clearly science has defined that there are two genders. They're decided by chromosomes,
Mhm.
XX and XY. And I believe somewhere, I think in the very first book of the Bible, Genesis, if I'm not mistaken, it mentions the man, how there's two genders, male and female.
Mhm.
So yeah, they both go, and as we've said in every Pastor Gavin episode that we've ever done, science and Christianity, or faith, if you want to use that
Mhm.
word instead, are not at odds with each other. They're
Mhm.
just two sides of the same coin. That's it. Okay. So you
Mhm.
don't, by saying, oh, well, it's science, and therefore automatically, because it's science, is against God. No, that's not how
It's
that
actually
works.
just the opposite. In fact, another thing, I don't know if it was Abigail that said it or some one of these crazies on one of these groups that we were talking about earlier, that everybody is female, right?
Abigail said it.
Well, it was Abigail. Now, this, believe it or not, has been a common talking point for a long time. I mean, I was in college in the early 90s, okay? And they were teaching that garbage then. And this is the faulty logic they use. In the earliest stages of a fetal development, what is the ovaries, if it becomes a boy, falls down into what becomes the testicles. And if it stays up there, they remain a girl. So that's the reasoning behind that. Everybody's female when they're first conceived. That's absurd because it's not like a roll of the dice per chance. Gee, are they going to
Yeah.
fall or not? Is it going to be a boy or a girl? No, that is already predetermined by at the very moment of the conception, the moment that sperm fertilizes that egg, the
Yeah.
DNA is already determined whether it's going to be male or female, whether they're going to fall and become testicles or not. It's
Yeah.
not
We
it's
just
not
don't
a, it's
know.
not a guessing game. Just
No,
like
we just don't know that.
right,
We
exactly.
don't know whether they
It's
will.
already
But
predetermined, just like blood type, hair color, eye color. Nothing is per chance once the moment of conception starts. So this idea that everybody's female, no, they're not. It's already
yeah, no.
determined at the moment of conception what they're going to be. So I mean that is completely anti-scientific,
Yeah, I
in
know.
nature.
I know they love spouting that
You
old
know,
science nonsense that's already been thrown out the window, decades ago.
you
I
know,
do want to point out to everybody that it was episode 125, titled "Parents of the West Shore School District Continue to Fight." That's the episode where Christy
mhm.
actually reads the materials in the meeting, or I don't know if that was the meeting or if we just had an episode. I think that was just an episode, and we showed the clips of her,
Yeah,
of
that
her
she
reading it at
actually
the
right.
meeting.
She actually read it at the meeting.
So
And
you
she
can go look
brought
up the
all the
meeting
books
and
that we
find it.
found. Mhm.
Yeah, you can go to the meeting and find it, or you can look up this episode where we play you excerpts from that meeting where she reads the stuff, and it's yeah. If you don't think it's there, all you have to do is tune into it. We're showing you right here. That's why I can't believe there's people out there claiming that this is not in the libraries. That is what's so astonishing to me, that there's actually people out there saying that this is, oh no, it doesn't exist. Here's our catalog. Well, we
Well,
know it is because we have copies of the books, and we have kids showing parents that this is in the library. So
and all we got to do is keep showing the proof, because that's all you got to do, because these people will pathologically lie. That's all they have. I mean, I don't want to get down too many rabbit trails, but you even see this on a national level now, where politicians are trying to say there's no such thing as Antifa. Never mind, the thousands of hours of video on every public social media. You can pull up to see their rioting and their organization and their slogans on giant signs. Oh yeah, that's all a big figment of your imagination. They don't exist. I mean, come on, and all you got to do is just keep putting the info, the irrefutable facts out there, just like what we were just talking about with biology and sex and gender. They're going to just gaslight and lie so brazenly because that's all they have. That's why they always want to shut down debate. They know that in an open and honest dialogue based in factual evidence, they stand no chance. Because everything about their worldview is all geared toward fighting that which is natural and good. Anything that is noble and within the natural order is their enemy. So they have to go against the literal truth or reality itself. They are at war with it because ultimately they are at war at war with the Creator, and so they're by proxy at war with His creation.
Now, something else that I wanted to, actually two things I wanted to point out in reference to Christy Harmon's video. Those were only a few of the books that we decided, to speak about. There are many more than those. Okay, so I want that to be established.
And if I can interrupt you again for just a second, Mariana, it's because that I am here for the people, and we're always here to expose the truth first, always. And but even for my airwaves, there's just some things that just shouldn't be said out loud. So yes, we did pick only some of the books for that episode, because I thought that some of this was like, no. Like, we got to keep it at least a tiny bit on, like, let's show some extreme stuff, but then there's some stuff that I was like, no, we got to pick a different clip. So, like, if you want to see the full thing, we will share out on our social media the link to the meeting where she actually reads all the excerpts. So yes, in our episode, it's only a few clips, not the whole thing. It's only a few clips.
Now, the other thing I wanted to point out is something that Abigail keeps saying. Okay, she keeps saying that we have to follow the law. We have to follow the law of the PHRC. Okay, because Donald Trump's mandate is not law. His executive order is not law. Well, let's clear something up. First and foremost, the Pennsylvania Human Relations, okay, that is an agency that writes policy. Okay, it is a policy. It is not a law. Okay, and why I say that, because she's forgetting something, that whatever they decide, whatever they say, whatever they want to pass, okay, including the teachers union, okay, there's something that supersedes that. It's called the Constitution of the United States of America. Okay, so you can write whatever you want to write. Okay, if it goes against what the Constitution of the United States of America, that makes it, okay, not valid. Okay, because we have constitutional rights that protects us, and things in order that protect not only us, but our children. And Pennsylvania is a constitutional state. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is based on the Constitution. And we are also to honor the Bible, and it's in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So people don't fall for that rhetoric. And yes, Donald Trump passed an executive order, and that has to be respected, and that has to be obeyed. I mean, it's getting to a point, do we have to submit these clips to the DOJ to see that we have somebody bucking up, okay, to a executive order?
That's where I think
it's going to take that much.
I think that's where I think we're at, Mariana. I think we need to start forwarding episodes and some of our content on right to the state's district attorney, or maybe even the federal prosecutors. If the local guys aren't doing their jobs right now, then I don't know what else are you supposed to do when the local prosecutors aren't doing their jobs, or at least they're taking their sweet time to do it. Coincidentally, here's the evidence of bribery at the West Shore School District, everybody. Right here it is. Now, in this particular studio, we don't have the admittance, but we do have the evidence of the bribery. Here it is. Supposedly it's still in the pipeline, getting processed or whatever, trying to figure out where the jurisdiction is or whatever red tape nonsense is going through it. Meanwhile, the West Shore has no policy on what to do with board members who have been accused of bribery. So therefore nothing can be done until something legal happens. And you have somebody serving on the board who likes to bribe other school members. Clearly that's the way it is. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff's been happening around here.
This is a very conflicted board. They're fighting within. Okay, and that's because, again, unfortunately, we are living in a society that have lost its ever-loving mind. Okay, but then again, should not surprise us as Christians? No, because the Bible does say that in the last days, people will be lovers of themselves. They will be angry. You'll be seeing it's going to be like the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. And I remember as a child, reading that, and okay, I understood what the Word of God was saying, but now that I'm living it and I'm seeing it, boy, do I understand the Word of God. Boy, because now we're living it. We're living it.
Isn't it surreal though, too, a little bit to be? Yes. I mean, we both grew up, going to church and stuff. So we both grew up with these what at a child, I don't know that you can comprehend some of the lessons in the Bible as a child and stuff, but it's weird to have learned that and then to start seeing it unfold in real time, in real person, like, on the news every day and in your local school boards. It's surreal to see the
I
word
mean,
of God
the
actually
thing is,
unfold in real time.
and none of this stuff is really new either. I mean, you really want to put it into perspective. The stuff that we're shocked by and what we've been shocked by in the United States of America over the last less than a century, it's new to us in our generations of the United States of America and in Western civilization in general. These kinds of perversions and deviancies and nefarious activities, but they have been the norm throughout world history. In pagan societies, things like genital mutilation, bloodletting in the form of sacrifice, sometimes up to the point of actual death. These kinds of practices have been at the norm in many societies for thousands of years. We just, because we did have a civilizing force of Christianity for several centuries, particularly in the most developed nations, which is why they became the most developed nations. For us, it became abnormal and unnatural. So the scriptures address these issues, and it was only when the scriptures started being applied to public policy, not in a perfect way, of course, and not in every way, but in many ways, for the first time in world history a few hundred years ago, and then of course really increased with the founding of America, when we saw the most advanced civilized civilizations and free civilizations the world ever saw. And not surprisingly, the people who are the ideology of death and destruction, and suicidality on a societal scale, hate those civilizations that produced the greatest longevity and quality of life this world has ever seen, rooted, of course, in the Christian principles. So we are just seeing the old perversities resurface themselves, which of course is still prophecy. So I'm not minimizing that part of it, but it's just the old the old world order really coming back.
True.
Yeah.
Now, before we go into the next segment, is there anything else you gentlemen would like to discuss about these last two things that we spoke about?
No, I think we covered it pretty. I think we covered it pretty good. I would just say
so
to
the last.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go. You got it. Go.
So the last thing we have to speak about is what happened just this week, okay, and that is the resignation of our board member Heidi Thomas. Okay. First, I want to speak to Heidi. Okay. Heidi, I want you to know that we, the parents, we love you very, very much. Okay. We saw everything you've been through. We saw what the veteran school board members and their solicitor at the time put you through, and it was very unfair. Okay. We saw the verbal abuse, the emotional abuse, and when they got when they weaponized the left against you, all those social media posts, okay, about you. And, shame on them. But I do need to say something to you, and that is thank you. Thank you for your years of service. Thank you for being a warrior. Thank you for being, the one to stand by your convictions. And thank you for showing us all, okay, what a light on a hill is. Thank you for showing us all what a true Christian is. We love you. You're in our prayers, and I wish you the best in whatever, the Lord may have, waiting for you ahead. And we are here if you ever need us. So why did Heidi Thomas resign? Outside of her own personal reasons, a lot of it had to do with the nonsense that's happening within the community, how they are weaponizing themselves, how they use lawfare on a bogus Sunshine Act violation. After a while, guys, she's not new in this. She's been on the board for a couple of years now. After a while, it's the Bible says it's like a drip, okay, a constant drip that hits a rock. When you have a constant drip hitting a rock, eventually it's going to wear it out. And eventually you need that mental break. And I am not going to be one to, raise a stone against her. I am not going to be one to raise my voice against her. I understand why, because you see, I just retired from parental, advocacy, because, I think it's time for the younger generation, okay, to take those reins. And also, after a while, you need a mental break. I want to be able to enjoy my family. I want to be able to enjoy, my life. I want to have peace of mind. That's not to say that if they need me, I'm not going to be there, because you guys know me. I can't shut up to save my life. Okay. I will always be there. Okay. But I understand where Heidi is at, because Heidi, that's where I'm at too.
And to add to that, I'm trying to avoid being too detailed here. Trying to think of how I want to word this. All right. Well, first, going back to the analogy with the water and the rock, there's also a related analogy to that. I mean, we probably all heard about the ancient Chinese water torture, where they would tie somebody down, just drip water on their forehead, and they would do this for hours and hours on end. And of course, a drop of water hitting your forehead doesn't hurt at all. But there's a psychological effect after several hours where it creates a pounding headache. And metaphorically speaking, this is what Heidi has been through. And I'm not going to even grace them by putting it out there, because I'm not going to give them that satisfaction. But just hearing through the grapevine of what some of these reprobates have put out and bragged about of what they've done to this woman, they have put her through hell every chance they've gotten. And after a while, it's the Chinese water torture. It's death by 1,000.
The small stuff eventually takes its toll on
right. And they've been relentlessly persecuting her for years. Again, I'm not going to put any details out there to even give them the satisfaction of being spoken, but I'm hoping for other ways of vindication, which I don't really have the time, and it's not really the appropriate time either to go into. But I'm hoping these can happen, and we got some things we're considering for future events. But I would like to see justice done, and if there's anything I can do on my end to see that happens, I will definitely do so.
But above that, Jonathan, people forget something. Okay, people forget something, whether they want to admit it or not. There is a God. Okay, and God will vindicate her. God will vindicate her. God will continue to fight our battles. Okay, and one thing I know as a Christian, because I've seen it with my own eyes, that when you mess around with a child of God, brace yourself, Effie. Because when the Lord says enough is enough and things start going crazy in your life, and and down there's health issues and there's financial issues and everything looks like it's going crazy, do you have to ask yourself, how did I offend God first and foremost? Okay. And which child of God did I decide to play with? Because God will protect his children. I mean, you might not see it immediately. You may see it down the line. Okay. But God will fight that battle. He will protect his children. Okay. He will vindicate the name of those kids. So be very careful when you start poking bears and when you are messing around with a child of God, because if you think that there is no repercussions, you will soon find out that there is. From him.
Like a dear friend of mine used to say, the wheels of justice turn very slowly, but they do turn.
Yeah. And well, the good news is for everybody else, though, is that I'm not going anywhere. So that means the Boiling Point podcast is going to be here from now until the Lord returns. So you can elect all the bad school board members you want, West Shore. We are not going anywhere. We're still going to be here. We're still going to report on it. We're still going to talk about how your school district is slowly falling into the 7th level of hell. And if you guys allow it to happen, we will be here to cover it the whole way. I'm hoping that's not, I pray and hope that that's not the case, that election day is a positive day. And, now with the loss of Heidi Thomas, it's going to be, Kelly's race is even more imperative now because we at least have to be able to maintain, equal, like an equal board or such as it is. Even though how many Republicans there on the board are actual true Republicans. Chris Cambick, you are not one of them.
Oh,
Sorry,
he's
everybody.
never been.
Oh, he's a clown.
Yeah, during this
Yeah,
episode, I've been
it's
talking.
interesting. I was talking to a friend earlier. Sorry, we can't hear you, John.
Go ahead. Can you hear me now?
I couldn't hear you. You went out.
Talk, say what you say.
Oh,
Okay,
what
go
was
ahead.
I going to say?
I don't know.
It slipped my mind now. What I was going
That's
to
all
say.
right.
Sorry.
If it comes back, we'll circle back to you. What I was going to say is during this episode we're recording, we're not live. We're going to post it immediately after we're done. But during this episode, I've been in chats and stuff while Mariana's been talking and responding to several chats, and I'll be responding as soon as this episode goes live. I'm going to go back to all those places and link this episode directly to everybody. But we're trying to reach the people who are being confused, who are being deceived. The people who don't agree with us and who are openly defiant against God. It's unlikely, Mariana, that the three of us are going to reach these people. We can try, of course, but it's unlikely that our words sway them. It's going to take God himself to sway some of these people. So we're here to educate the people who are in the middle or who don't want to deal with all the noise that constantly happens in politics. But if you want to know the truth, then you tune into us, because we're going to give you the facts, only the facts. We may give you our opinion, and we may even talk some smack against the opposing side, but we'll always give you the facts. And that's why you want to tune into us, because that's what we're going to give you. And that's what's most important when it comes to election day, is what is truth, what is not truth. Because right now, especially here, this local election, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors happening. And we're here to help you cut through that and deliver right to the truth. And all of our biggest fan club, you all know who you are. I do it for you. That's who I do it for. I do it for you. And you all know who you are. And
We love you.
Thank you for continuing to tune in to the Boiling Point podcast and the Watchdog Report, because we just appreciate you so much that you continue to tune in. Our biggest fan clubs, you know who you are. You don't have to say our names out loud in public. It's okay. We know you're closeted fans. It's okay. We're here for you. So thank you for continuing to tune in and, continuing to make yourself look like jackasses when you try and refute us in those meetings, because I personally enjoy it. I laugh hysterically every time the words "that podcast" gets mentioned. It's hysterical to me. I love it. So keep it coming. I enjoy a good laugh. We all need to laugh, Mariana, right? We all got to laugh from time to time.
Yes, we do.
And if you're not laughing at this, then you're just not trying hard, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I do remember I was going to say earlier, I was talking to a friend earlier today, and this person brought something up, and I agree with them. Sometimes, of course, we want to see Kelly win in the worst way in November, and somehow, some way, see Heidi's vacated seat be replaced by somebody good, refill by somebody good. But again, we're talking about God. His ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts higher than our thoughts. And sometimes the mess we want to avoid is exactly the mess we need for a better outcome in the long run. And I think in this person used the example, and I agree with him again, on a national level, what's happened in the last 10 years. Donald Trump made a lot of horrendous mistakes in his first term. And his last year of his first term, quite frankly, was a complete disaster. And then he was partially responsible, I think, out of naivete, for contributing to the shenanigans that led to his loss. And I put that in quotes in 2020. But it took those four nightmarish years to wake a lot of people up. Even with all the censorship that was going on, the truth in people's everyday lives was so glaring that even against all odds, he still came back and was victorious in 2024. And he's the better for it. He has come back, he's really impressed me, because quite frankly, I've never been a huge fan of Trump's. I've always voted for him in general elections, but in the 2016, I was a Ted Cruz guy. In 2024, I was a Ron DeSantis guy. But he has really gone far above and beyond anything I would have ever expected in getting things done and getting them done well. and he probably would not have been even half as good a president in his second term had he not had the chicanery of 2020 not occurred, and
You
the
might be
last
right.
4 years of nightmare not occurred. So at least for now, in the longer term, what we were devastated about 5-6 years ago, at least for now, is working out much for the better. And who knows, and I shudder to say it, I cringe to say it, but maybe these, and again, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say it, it's literal. Maybe when the agenda of literal pedophiles, Satanists, and Marxists take over the policies of the West Shore School Board, that might be the fire that needs to be lit under enough people to finally get serious and really take this district back and move it in the right direction. Who knows? Well, time will tell.
That is correct. Maybe time will tell, because we are already seeing the rumbles. We are already seeing the fight, the infighting, these people coming because they want what they want at any cost. They don't care who they have to throw under the bus to get it. These are people with no common sense. We see it, we hear them, and we just ask themselves, is this like a TV comedy series that we're looking at? No, this is real life, and it's really sad. It's pathetic. But I will say this: that if this board is flipped back to the left, I will definitely encourage every parent of the West Shore School District that has sense, okay, and is really active and concerned about the future of their children, the education of their children. I would highly encourage you to pull your children out of the public education system altogether, put them in charter schools, put them in private schools, put them in Christian schools if you can, afford it. If you can, afford to stay home and homeschool, even better. Because what's going to happen, okay, it's going to be nightmarish. And, it's like I was talking to a friend and she said to me, you know what, Mariana, I fear, she said to me, that it's going to take something big, a big catastrophe, okay, to fall upon one of our schools or our children for these people to finally wake up, open their eyes, and see that this has been caused, okay, due to the people not fighting for the rights of the children and allowing this crazy, wild agenda to get as out of control as it is.
Yep. I couldn't agree more with that statement. I think it's likely going to take something substantial for the West Shore to wake up here. We'll see. I hope it doesn't. We still have an election coming up. There is some hope. There is some hope, but it's not the greatest of hope right now. So that's why we need people to get out there and make sure you vote for Kelly Brent, because her seat is more crucial than ever now. So you want to get out there. Coming up, it's just 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks here, 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
November 4th. So
November 4th. So just
yeah,
over
that's
2 weeks. Yeah, just over
18
2
days,
weeks
exactly
away.
18 days.
Yeah, so
18 days.
Make sure you get out there and vote. I'll be getting out there and voting. I think I got to see where my polling place is, because I had moved since the last election, so I got to see if I can walk to my polling place or not. But yes, it's coming up, and don't the off years and stuff. That's not the time not to vote. That is the time to also vote. You want to vote on the major stuff. You want to vote on the little stuff. That's how they're getting us. That's how they're getting in, because they know people are always concerned with the national stuff and not the local stuff. It's time you got to flip that around.
I don't even like that term off-year elections. I've always been bothered by that.
Yeah,
because honestly, this stuff, especially school board elections, but local elections, have a much greater effect on your daily life and your family, and state elections too, than the federal government's elections do. Yet for decades, we've had all eyes on the national government, while our school boards and our local governments were sabotaged from us right under our nose. We didn't even notice it until the chicanery and the nefarious activity became so glaring it could no longer be ignored. And now it's you're fighting like crazy to take back the territory that's already been lost.
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
And I'm sorry for interrupting you, John. Sorry.
No, absolutely not.
I'm sorry, Jonathan. And honestly, I don't think we should even be using the term off year anymore, because at the climate, okay, of our society right now, okay, every year is a crucial year. Every year is a crucial year. And when you decide to go silent and not vote, you are enabling them. You are
Yeah,
enabling them to finish destroying not only, our neighborhoods and our schools and our communities, but our country and, in essence, the world. Stop
yeah,
being an enabler. Get up and go vote.
yeah. Get out there. It's time to get involved. Now is not the time to sit on the sidelines, especially if you're a child of God. He's calling your name. He's calling your jersey number right now. It's time for you to get in the game. So the time of sitting on the sidelines and being able to say that you're a Christian, but you don't really do anything to protect society. I think we're kind of moving past that. You have to get involved now. There is no more time that you can just sit back and let it happen. So make sure you vote for Kelly. Make sure you vote no for Teri Mickle, and make sure you vote no for Teri Mickle. And just in case I haven't mentioned it in this episode, vote no for Teri Mickle.
And also vote no to the retention of these judges. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be asking you whether you want to retain some judges. I think it's a list of 3. Vote no, because these are the judges that helped shut us down. Okay. When COVID hit, maxed up our kids, many lost their jobs because of the decision of 3 judges. Vote no to retention of these judges.
Yep. Vote no to retention on the judges. Go ahead, Mariana. Close us out.
So with that being stated, thank you for being here with us. Thank you, Jonathan. And thank you to my husband, for coming onto the show today. Get out there and vote. Vote for Kelly Brent. No to Teri Mickle. No to the judges' retentions. No.
No to Teri Mickle.
That's right. No Teri Mickle, no Teri Pickle, whatever you want to call it. No. Okay. So with that being stated, we're signing off. God bless.
Oh, I'm trapped again. And fate always hasn't wrapped again. I always get caught in my life of sin, but I just keep on going back again. You know I'm lost again, when all I wanted was to find a friend, someone that I can always depend on to help me find my life again.